Um, early access, so let's keep in mind that this game is early access. Not everything is fully cleaned up, on point, whatever you want to call it. As it stands, let's talk about as it stands. The pros and cons. The pros: it's a continuation of the story. I like where it's kind of heading. Uh, if you've played the first game, which I highly recommend you play the first game, it's a very amazing game, great story, one of the greatest stories I like to listen to, or not listen to, but like it was really good. Um, this game kind of takes off on the same idea that you're dealing with the Bridge Alliance, you're dealing with Ptolemy and the Illuminati's, or not the Illuminati, but the Order of Illuminus. Um, and basically, you have to basically make discernments for yourself. A lot of this game, like last game, is choice based. So like going the extra mile will make a difference on your missions. Going and doing anything like that will be beneficial to you. So like not just blatantly being like, "Oh, you're a fucking piece of shit," or "Oh, I like you because you're one of me." Everybody in the game has a motive. Everything there's some good, there's some bad, there's some whatever, and you kind of have to prove your points and make choiceful decisions on what's going on. With that being said, based on what we played so far, the story does have a lot of really good points. I like the fact that not only you can create your own character again, you start off as being a sage or a sage in training, and you basically they give you two missions to do your initiation. Um, you do those missions. One was figuring out that the water and food have been poisoned, the fish at least, and it comes from a mining operation and that was harvesting gold. And the reason that it was poisoning stuff because they use a metal called quicksilver, which would uh, clean the gold, but I guess they didn't fully do it well enough, and it started polluting the waters and everything around them. You go to the main fort for the Bridge Alliance. The doctor there makes you the thing. You go heal your people, and then your other part of it is to shut down the fort. And there's many ways you can go about that. You can either lie and make a false document, or you can try to convince the people to not kill your people and find better opportunities elsewhere. And that's what I did, and it turned out to be very beneficial. Mission number two. Um, the game starts disappearing, and a hunter group from your tribe have gone missing. You find them deep in the woods. One is fighting his first life against these wolves. Two are in bear traps, like legit bear traps, and they've never seen this before. But you've seen it because one of your friends from your village is a traveler or a foreigner from another country, the Bridge Alliance. But he's a good guy. And he shows you about this apparently, and you do stuff and you unlock traps. You find out that the Bridge Alliance has a hunting group, and they're just harvesting everything and anything for as much money as they can as possible. And yeah, you basically go back to the Bridge Alliance fort and tell the head guy, hey, these guys are stealing all of our people and or all the animals that we need to hunt too. I guess you need to hunt too, but like it's affecting our village already on top of what's affecting our village. Can you please stop them? He's like, yeah, we'll send them somewhere else. Don't worry. Um, Another side mission. There's one side mission we never got to do, which was the ancient ruins, which I really wish we should have done, but oh well. Too bad, so sad. Um, but going forward, as well, you do a lot of different things. There's a lot of side quests. There's a lot of main quests. So there's plenty to do in this early access. Uh, the story does continue off on a lot of notes of, like you said, people are out to make you look like savages. We kind of touch back on the Bridge Alliance, trying to use your people for bad. Because before, like you were a delegate of the Congregation of Merchants. You weren't a savage. You were a congregation of merchant, dude. You were neutral. Now you're a native, and you kind of had to fight off the goods and the bads of what's everything around you. I liked a lot of these battles. I liked a lot of these things. Beautiful scenery. A lot of stuff could have been polished for it, but we're going with the pros right now. It's a good story so far. I like how it continues off where GreedFall left off. In a sense, we don't really meet a lot of the same characters. In fact, we haven't met any of the old characters, which it's kind of unfortunate. I would have liked to seen some old people kind of make reemerges in this early access to really connect the dots. So unfortunately, that didn't get to happen, but still a great story. Um, what other good parts are there? Beautiful scenery, the intro music, great. Um, Now let's talk about the cons because I feel like the pros are very, very straightforward. Beautiful scenery, same landscape idea, and just good story. Now there's cons. So like these cons that I have to say are not entitled to the game its entirety. And I'm going to try to minimize the stuff that's been from the early access side of things. So I have to remember that like a lot of the cons I have for this game right now, I want to exclude a lot of the buggy issues of early access as best I can. So some of the cons, the new updated fighting mechanic and system. This game uh, previously was a very just free will fight. You see a monster, you go after it, kind of like mentality, right? Very Assassin's Creed like, and I think like in some of their advertisement before in the first GreedFall, they're like, if you like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you'll like this. And around that time, or Assassin's Creed style stuff. So I liked that old fighting style. So this new fighting style, it was very, I won't say annoying. It just wasn't a particular style that I was a fan of. Uh, it was very buggy at times. It was very like I'd be in a fighting area and I'd have my people just like be broken. They're just standing there, just taking hit after hit, not even trying to fight. So that kind of sucked. Um, I'm not a big fan of turn based. Because here's the thing, it was very evident they took some ideas from a lot of turn-based games. I'm not gonna say specifically Baldur's Gate 3, because Baldur's Gate 3 is not the only turn-based game out there, right? But it had a lot of similarities to turn-based, but it wasn't also turn-based. Like you had options to do spells and different things, and you had action bar and action points with the sense of like turn-based, but it wasn't turn-based. And I think that's kind of what like the annoying factor for me is that was like it tried to be more free will attacking like how it normally is while trying to adapt and add some turn-based style mechanics into their thing. If you ask me personally, I really enjoyed the first game's fighting style, and that was my big selling point of why I wanted to get this. Great story, great fighting, a lot of adventure, and a lot of rich lore. And now that kind of like that middle point is kind of like severed at the legs kind of thing for a new robot leg. It kind of takes away from my allure from wanting to play it to that degree. Um, and I think one of the biggest, another big part of that fighting style is that like it gives you very limited time to not really limited time, but like there's not much time to really learn the mechanics. So like there is in the very intro, in the very very beginning when you're doing the initiation versus the two monsters, but it really doesn't guide you well in my opinion. And I think they could update that about binding items, binding whatever. Um, so yeah, the fighting on this kind of just really took a massive hit in my opinion. I think it's nice that you have companions and you can kind of control your companions and do different things with your companions. But um me personally, I would have preferred just playing and fighting as myself versus anybody else. Um I think that's one of the biggest allures of the game was kind of like I said, you get to be that Assassin's Creed like thing, and it kind of takes it away, it takes that element away, and makes it more turn-based Baldur's Gate 3 inspired or Baldur's Gate inspired or whatever kind of inspired turn-based style of combat, and it just kind of I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. But obviously you see me play the entire early access and what could be done. Another con, and this is something that I find very annoying almost, is you can't use consumables in the pause menu of your inventory. And I made a ticket about that in my whatever report in the game. I think that's such a huge miss on the development side, that like the only way to use your consumables is to hotbar them in the action area of your thing. Like you have to go to tactical view, you have to look at your action bars, you have to click on one of the open areas, you have to click bind, you have to go into your consumables and then choose something to bind, and then in your tac view, you have to hit that button, get out of your tac view, and let him conform the action. Versus just hitting the pause or hitting the select or whatever, going to your inventory, hitting minor healing, and then having like an option like use, and then choose someone you want to use it on. I think that was a huge miss, and I think it's very annoying, to be very honest. Because like even in Boulder's Gate, I can go into my inventory and just hit that, that potion or that whatever, and use it. So for that not being there or being an option, that is a huge knock on the gameplay and all that. Because like I said, after my first part, which I will be releasing this upcoming week with the God of War stuff, since now we're done with Godfall or GreedFall 2, not Godfall. Apologies. I was looking at the God of War image for my thumbnails on my other monitor. Um, it's such it's such a miss. It is an entire miss for a game that's kind of taking a new approach at something. That is a huge miss. Um, and I think it really shies away from playability in a literal sense. So, like I said, when we were doing the first part, uh, I got to a point where I was in a cave. I had potions, but I didn't know how to use them because I really wasn't like getting the mechanics and all that down. I had to make a report ticket, and someone in the report ticket, I think, not a dev, but someone in the community, gave me an idea how to do something, and that was my only workaround. Nobody from the team had thought to fix that. So thank you to, you know what? I'm gonna shout this person out. I don't even know who you are, but let me go to here. This guy Drusik, thank you for that fucking tip of advice. You literally saved the entire playthrough and what's going on here. I think that was a detrimental. Another big thing, and I think it's part of early access. So I'm gonna try to be just give a straightforward point and not like really like dive onto it, is the graphics. Now, as we saw, I was playing on ultimate graphics, the highest graphics possible. And there were times where I was in groups and cutscenes in areas where everything was matte, everything wasn't rendered in, and there was just very just shader issue loading, whatever you want to call it. So that's a big issue. Um, because like I said, if I was playing on a lower setting and I didn't care about stuff loading in, wouldn't be an issue, right? I wouldn't care. I wouldn't want to care. But I'm playing on ultimate. I want the best graphics possible. I want the shades. I want the beautiful artistry to really pop and be vibrant. And I didn't get that. And that is something that I think uh my Nacon, I think that's the people who do the support stuff for the game. I think that's something they really need to look into, and the developers of the game, GreedFall 2, really need to look into why, at least maybe on my stream or maybe in my game or whatever, why the ultimate rendering wasn't rendering at all like it should be. Because there's a lot of issues like that. Like when my guy was talking, his teeth were basically his bottom teeth were basically clenched up to the upper part of the mouth. All I saw were the bottom gums. Um, so that was an issue. Um, yeah, that was kind of a weird issue in itself. Uh, movement felt stiffer than normal. Running felt stiff. A lot of things felt really stiff and sticky. I don't know how else to describe it, but I think I can't tell if it was early access or if that's the game itself, but things just felt stiffer and stickier than last that I remembered, but that also could just be me, so I'm gonna take that for a grain of salt. And I would say just watch the rest of the series for yourself. If you missed anything like that. A lot of loot, a lot of cool things, a lot of cool weapons, a lot of cool characters. Any other cons that I could really want to point out? Um, broken combat, not fun combat, rendering. We had a few crashes. I think we had like 3 or 4 crashes in its entirety, which is I don't know if that's high for an early access, but kind of sucked. That's where my fucking anxiety of um pausing and saving came into play. Uh, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. So when I'm looking at the support things, like this one boss was just she starts fighting and hovering the characters, fell to the ground once the fight was nearly over. It did not seem to fade. So just a visual glitch. Yep, vote for that too. Um, there's a lot of bugs, just a lot of bugs that just need to be uh looked at. And I think, in my opinion, in my most humble opinion, I don't think this game is ready to be released fully. I think there needs to be a lot of cleanup. Um, and let's do this. Let's look at some of the support stuff and kind of go over some things like fast travel not working. We didn't have really issues. Bugs while saving send from bandits. Contact you sneak around and knock out the enemy bandits and listen to them speak. When most of the enemies are knocked out, you approach. Oh, see, I didn't do that. I literally snuck in, saved, said, and we snuck the fuck out. Speak to do. When reaching refugee camp and quest the escape, generic native refugees and refugees camp have interaction. Named speak to do native peacefully. Not every refugee has it, but the peaceful ones. Oh, okay. Yeah, there was a lot of text issues, like a lot of buggy text that weren't fixed. They're like, it was like hashtag ing not group +1 reputation with underscores. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of grossness with that. Naya boss, yeah. New tattoos vanished during and after trial. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh, you know what? I didn't notice that, but I think they're right. CTD after first cutscene and what? After arriving to whatever the first time, the game crashes to desktop after the initial cutscene, but before the party selection comes up, replaying the sequence and returning did not cause the bug to reoccur. Okay. Menu logger opens after leaving the game running. Weird. I think that's just you, homie. A new evil restricted area guard patrol pattern issue. I don't care. That's a too long one to read. Too long didn't read. Companions not retaining skills and attributes. Yep, yep, that was fucking annoying. Anytime my party would not be with my party, and I went to go like, all right, here are your points, and they're like, oh, choose a new party member. If we got to switch around party members, I would have to reset attribute points. That was fucking annoying. Admin question: Doctor in 4 cannot find the test results. Just me to wait. Yeah, you wait. Weapon disappears in combat. Yep, that's annoying. In the middle of a fight, we talked about that. Weapon just disappearing, like you're just swinging nothing. Female character eyebrow bug. Well, the main character you can see like light almost in my guy. I thought that was just kind of cool. It just happens to during the cutscene create the characters. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay. Reputation update display problem. Yeah, just random little things. I think that was the big thing. There was like random little things that were really issues that I just didn't really like think about in the much more because I was like in the mindset like, all right, whatever, cool. Has no skills at level 11. Trapper. Trappers still remain in their camp, even though Fort Captain said he will send them away and the quest completed. Please remove the trappers from the camp to me. I agree. That's another one. Dang, there's so many things I just overlooked because I was just so wanting to play the game. Vlon? Who the fuck is Vlon? Unable to complete the missing scales quest. I went to the mines and found Vlon, then came back to Gobin to ask about him, and instead I also returned the scales that I found while fighting the lizard. He gave me an item to give to Vlon. I go back and ask him if he is a donate god. There's no option to give him an item and it disappears. Another way is just to ask, but see, I had no issue. Maybe I just had no issue. Saves don't work. All my saves worked. Fast travel disabled after exiting the mines. The fast travel is grayed out on the map. I didn't have that issue. Fast travel locked after exiting the mines for the first time. I don't think I had that issue. Can't heal or use consumables. Oh wait, that's me. That's Russian. Game cannot run on an idea pad 3. Okay. Full screen and it failed with no recovery. Try to display mode with a full screen setting. Okay. Well, those are archived issues. Oh, here we go. Wait, those are archived issues. Chance to get stuck out in combat mode. 5 people want this. Okay, hold on. I occasionally get stuck in combat mode and can no longer interact with anything. I believe this happens when you finish a fight semi close to other enemies. Uh, it first happened to me after I snuck past some Leolans, but got caught by a second group when trying to find out how villagers got sick. When this happens after battle, quick say, okay. I think a quick mitigation. I don't think I had that issue. On the game is unplayable, slow at resolution scale 200, but works great. When headwear is hidden, the player's character hair disappears upon entering a new area. A dying forest fails. Stumble upon 3 villagers before finding camp. Killed the dog. Saved the 3 villagers. Couldn't interact with any of them. Wandered around. Found camp. Went back and they were dead. And quest failed. No, the only thing I cannot interact with them. If you click it, I see. I didn't have that issue because I read my journal and my journal says I had to make them potions and then I made them potions, so I didn't have that issue. Bramble shackles works incorrectly. Whatever. No way to leave the mining area. I didn't have that issue after I figured out gameplay, quest issue, graphics, hairstyle. Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of like just yucky bugs. Some of them minute and you don't really think about. Some of them just whatever. Oh, a lot of these are for Steam too. Any Epic Games? None for Epic Games. None for Switch. None for PS4. None for PS5. Oh, they're all Steam. They're all Steam reports. That's fucking funny. Um. So yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of polishing. There's a lot of things that need to get done in this game. Um. So on a scale of playable, like good to go, playable, or fix it. Oh yeah, you know what? We'll do a 4 point scale. So there, it's good to go, playable, needs some buffering, and a lot of work need to be done. I would say it's in the stages of buffering. A lot of work needs to be done. It just feels like there's so many skeletal issues, like base issues wrong. There's so many things that are just not fully complete. Um, definitely needs a lot of rework and a lot of tuning and adjusting. I would have given it its total buffering issue, but like I think there's some also like necessity issues that are just so broken right now that I'm afraid of the other areas in the game being just as bad. So it was cool that we had like 3 or 4 areas to explore around. Uh, but it is just not ready to go. Obviously, it's early access, so we have to give it its grace and dues. But overall, it is something that is not ready to be on the market for full release. And like I said, these are just the issues that people have been recording. Um, there's other issues too. Um, but yeah, there's just a lot of issues. I think this game needs a lot of work, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for what it has. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, right now it's a I hate to say it, it's a 5. It's a 5 to 4.5. With all the small buggy graphical issues, the different combat, you can't even heal from the inventory, game crashes and all that. I wouldn't put this on the market. I would not let people buy this. I would not let I would feel ashamed if people had all these issues going into a game. Like, or at least I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have these issues right now or have issues like this and it just kind of sucks. But we'll see what the developers do. We'll see what the development team does. Um, in that context. Um, yeah, so that's gonna be my review of it. We'll give it a 5 to a 4.5, or 4.5 to 5. Uh, not ready for full release. Needs a lot of buffering. Needs a lot of reworks. Needs a lot of things. Also, just one nitpicky thing, and I think it's just me. Uh, I get that a lot of this is surrounding around natives and all that. Um, I think that's one of the issues I have is that like most of the dialogue that I've experienced, I think, was like with native people for the most part in the first half of the game. So they're speaking in their native tongue, and it's just I don't know. It's just hard to kind of follow along, but that's just me. So I can't really say much. It's just a personal thing. Not totally against it, just personal. Just kind of like, oh my god, I got so much to read. I'd rather just mindlessly listen than read, but that's just me. Other than that, good stuff. I think it's really good. I think it's really good. Um, it has a lot of opportunities, but it's still pretty good. So yeah. So we'll be releasing the videos starting next week. So there's only going to be 3 parts actually. We'll do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, and we'll also release this part of the segment as its own video. I'd probably today, in all honesty, since now we're finished, and I'll just cut splice, and upload it to whatever, and we'll just keep going with how that is. And this thumbnail is not going to be the same thumbnail. I'm going to put like something up around it where it's like quote early access, so that people don't get confused that like this is the full on gameplay and all that. Or you know what? Maybe I'll just release all 3 or whatever. Um, but yeah. So other than that, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. And yeah, if you like what you saw, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All right, let's go do something different now.